Good morning, students. Welcome back to our class. In last class, we have discussed about two types of circulation, that is a double circulation. They are pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation transports blood only between the heart and the lungs, and systemic circulation transports blood between the heart and the entire body. Hope that you have studied that. Next, we can discuss about what is pulse and heartbeat. Every time you know that blood passes through the four chambers, through the valves, isn't it? When the blood passes through the valves, it makes a sound. The valve closes and opens. When the aorta is filled with blood, it contracts and the valves open and blood enters into the ventricles. So, the valves make a distinct sound. When the blood passes through the valves, it makes a distinct sound. So that sound is called heartbeat. Okay, so the blood passes through the valves and the valves closes. When the blood passes through it, it closes and open. And when it closes, it makes a sound. Okay, so that sound produced by the valves when the blood passes through it is called heartbeat. Okay, that is called a heartbeat. Normally, the heart beats at an average of 72 times per minute. So, in a healthy person, the average heartbeat, that is average of 72 times per minute. So, the normal heartbeat is 72 times per minute. Okay, so when the blood passes through the valves, it closes and produce a sound. So that sound is called. So we say that as a heartbeat. Okay, and what is meant by pulse? When the blood from the left ventricle, that is the oxygenated blood, pumped into the aorta. Okay, so that when the blood from the left ventricle pumped into the aorta, what happens? The muscular walls, the walls of the arteries are elastic. They are muscular. They expand. So the blood is pushed into the aorta with a high pressure. So the walls of the arteries, they expand as they are muscular. They expand every time when the blood is forced into the aorta and reaches to the arteries. So, due to the contraction of the left ventricle, the oxygenated blood, when reaches into the left ventricle, it is filled with the blood and it contracts, and blood is forced into the aorta, and what happens? The walls of the arteries are muscular. So when the blood is pumped into the aorta with a high force, with high pressure, that arteries, they become expand. The walls expand. Okay, and that can be so when they expand, when the arteries expand, we can felt it as a throbbing sound. So we can felt it as a throbbing in some of the places, not all places, in some of the arteries that is found just below the skin. So some arteries which are found just below the skin, we felt the throbbing. So that is called pulse. So that throbbing is called pulse. We can felt the pulse easily if we press our finger gently over the artery, and mainly we can easily felt the pulse by pressing the finger on our wrist. Okay, so gently press your finger over an artery on the wrist along the side of your thumb. Then you can feel the throbbing of the blood. So that is the pulse. Okay, so we can also count your heartbeat by feeling your pulse. So by counting the pulse, we can count the heartbeat. Okay, so as that when the blood is forced into the artery aorta, what happens? That blood forced into the aorta with high pressure. So that makes the walls of the artery expand. We can feel that expansion as a throbbing. When we can feel it if we touch the arteries. Some of the places we can feel the throbbing. So easily we can feel the pulse by touching the finger on your wrist. The artery is present on the wrist. If you touch there and you listen very carefully, then you can feel the throbbing. So that is the pulse. By examining the pulse, we can count our heartbeat. Okay, and the same way you can count the pulse or the heartbeat of your friends also. And at different that is, we can count the pulse at different times. The pulse rate may be different at different times. Means if you are in rest, the pulse rate, just you have to count the pulse rate. And after an exercise or after running, you can count the pulse. So if you count the pulse in these different timings, you can feel that the pulse rate is different. It may be different. Okay, so the average pulse rate of normal healthy persons while at rest is 72 times per minute. And the pulse rate increases after if you do any exercise or any physical activities, physical exercise or running or any exercise, climbing, like that, that pulse rate may be differ. So pulse rate may be increase, that is it may be even 120 or more per minute. Okay, so at normal stage, the pulse rate will be 72 times per minute. But after any physical exercise or any hard work, if you examine the pulse rate, it may be differ from the normal pulse rate. Okay, so when you go to a hospital, when you consult a doctor, if you have any fever or fever, if you go to hospital, the doctor will examine your pulse. Have you experienced that? Okay, so the doctor can examine your pulse, your heartbeat by feeling the pulse. Isn't it? Okay, so that is the pulse. And by examining the pulse rate, doctor can get the idea about the patient's heartbeat. So in order to get the idea of a heartbeat, doctor examines the pulse rate. Okay. Sometimes the pulse rate may be low or sometimes it may be higher. Okay. Very low pulse rate indicates poor functioning of the heart. If the pulse rate is low, that is below 72 times per minute, it indicates poor functioning of the heart. And the faster means if the heartbeat is faster, if pulse rate is higher, it usually an indication of hypertension or fever. If there is high pulse rate, that is heartbeat is more than 72 times per minute, that is an indication of hypertension, that is blood pressure, high pressure or fever. Okay, and have you seen that the doctor uses an instrument to count the heartbeat by keeping your chest? What is the instrument called? That instrument the doctor used to calculate or examine the heartbeat is a stethoscope. That is the stethoscope. Okay, so stethoscope is used to count the heartbeat. Okay, and next is blood pressure. Blood pressure means the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries. When the blood flows through the arteries, it exerts a pressure on the walls. So that pressure, that is when the blood flowing through the arteries, the blood exert a pressure on the walls of the arteries. So that is called blood pressure. That is the blood pressure. So blood pressure means pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries when the blood flows through the artery. So when the blood flows through the arteries, it exerts a pressure on the walls of the arteries. So that pressure is called blood pressure. In order to find out the blood pressure, doctor uses an instrument. Do you know that instrument? So the instrument used to find our blood pressure is sphygmomanometer. You have to underline that and study. So the instrument used to find out blood pressure is a sphygmomanometer. Okay. In order to count the heartbeat, doctor uses stethoscope, and instrument used to find out blood pressure is sphygmomanometer. Okay. And what about the blood pressure of normal healthy person? The two normal levels of blood pressure of a healthy person are 120 per 80 mm of Hg. Okay, 120 per 80 mm of Hg is the normal level of blood pressure. Okay, and if there is rise in the blood pressure, the normal level, which is the normal level, 120 per 80 mm Hg. Hg is the unit for measuring the blood pressure. Okay, so that is if there is a rise in the blood pressure that is above 140/90, normally we will say that is hypertension. That is high blood pressure. If the blood pressure is more than 120, that is 140 to 90, it is called hypertension or a high blood pressure. If the norm, that is if it is below from the normal blood pressure, it is a hypotension, low BP, low blood pressure. We will say no, low BP, high BP. Okay, low BP means low blood pressure, hypotension. Then more than 120, that is 140/90 means that is high BP, high blood pressure or a hypertension. Okay, so study what is hypertension and hypotension. Hypertension means if the normal blood pressure of a healthy person increases more than 140/90, that is hypertension or high blood pressure if is below the normal, it is a hypotension. Okay, so that is about blood pressure. And next topic is blood groups. Blood groups. Blood group means that is in human different types of blood groups are there. Different blood groups are there, and it is identified by the different blood groups in human body are identified by Karl Landsteiner. The scientist Karl Landsteiner in 1900 identified the blood groups. Okay, so he identified the blood groups by he can differentiate on the blood groups on the basis of proteins or antigens found on the surface of the RBC. In the RBC, above the or on the surface of the RBC, some antigens are present, some proteins are present. According to the type of protein, he differentiated different types of blood groups. So mainly two types of antigens are present on the RBC. What is RBC? Red blood cells. So in red blood cells, two types of RBCs are found. They are antigens. So antigens means it is a type of protein present on the RBCs. The two types of antigens are antigen A and antigen B. Antigen A and antigen B. And how can we identify we are having different blood groups or different blood groups? A person's blood group is A. How can we say if a person's blood, so the four types of blood groups are A, B, AB and O. Which are the four types of blood groups? There are four types of blood groups in human. They are A, B, AB and O. Which are the four types of blood group? A, B, AB and O. If a person's blood group is A, how can we say he is A group? If his RBC, in his RBC, antigen A is present, that blood group is A. If the RBC contain antigen B, that blood group is B. Clear? If a person's RBC contain antigen A, his blood group is A group. And if a person's RBC contain antigen B, his blood group is B group. And in some persons, both the antigens in his RBC, in some persons RBCs, both the antigen A and B may be present. So in such cases, that person's blood group is both are present, no? So that person's blood group will be AB group. If both A and B antigens are present in the RBC of a person, so his blood group will be AB group. Clear? Okay. And in some persons, no antigen will be there on their RBCs. So if the antigen A and B are absent or not seen, not found in the RBCs, such blood groups they are the O group. Okay, they are the O blood group. Okay, clear. So blood group can be differentiated on the by the presence of the antigens present on the RBCs. The two types of RBCs are, two types of antigens are, the antigen means they are a type of proteins. And the two types of antigens are the antigen A and antigen B. How can we identify the blood group? If a person's RBC contain antigen A, his blood group will be A group. And if RBC contain B antigen, his blood group will be B group. And if a person's blood group RBC contain both A and B antigen, his blood group will be AB group. Okay. And if there is no antigens on the RBCs, that is neither A or B, so that person's blood group will be O group. That person's blood group will be O group. Okay, so these are the 4 types of blood groups. And the blood group AB, the person with the AB blood group, he can receive all types of blood group because his blood group, his and RBC contain both A and B antigens. Okay, so that person's blood group contain both A and B antigen, so he can receive all types of antigen. All type of blood groups. That is, A blood group he can receive because his body contain this RBC contain A antigen, and he also can receive blood from the B groups because AB group contain B antigen in their RBCs. Okay, so and they also can they can receive AB group and O group. Okay, so AB group, the person with AB blood group can receive blood from all types of blood groups. Therefore, AB group are called universal recipient. They are called universal recipient. A person with the AB group are universal recipient because that is AB group are called AB blood group is called universal recipient because it can receive all types of antigen, all types of blood group. Clear? And next O group they can give blood to all types of blood groups because they don't have any antigens in their RBC, so they can donate blood to all blood groups. So O group is called universal donor. Universal donor. They can donate to everyone. O group can donate blood to every blood group. If it is A, B, AB or O, they can donate blood to all type of blood groups. So which blood group is called universal recipient? AB group. Blood group AB is the universal recipient and blood group O is the universal donor. AB group is called universal recipient because they contain both the antigens. Antigen A and B are present, so they can receive all types of blood group. And blood group O is called universal donor because they don't have any antigens, so they can give blood to all blood groups. Okay, so they are called O groups are the O group is called universal donor. Okay, and next, what is meant by blood donation? Blood donation means it is a voluntary procedure, that is if after a surgery or any that is healthy person can give blood to a person who need blood. That is the someone who needs surgery or any medical treatment. Sometimes the patients they need blood, isn't it? So you may hear that blood is needed and we have to donate blood. So that is during surgery. If any bleeding occurs, we have to give blood to the patient. Okay, so during that time, the doctors asked to store blood for giving the patient. So while during surgery or any other medical treatment, blood is needed. So donating blood, giving blood from a healthy person to a needful person or a patient is called blood donation. Okay, when we donate blood at a time, we can give 420 ml of blood. Okay, a pinch of blood means 420 ml of blood can be taken from a healthy person's body. Okay, and nowadays there are blood banks. What is blood bank? So it is a storehouse of blood. So we can donate blood to the blood bank, and in the blood bank the blood different groups of bloods are collected and stored, and it can be used for further uses, and it can be preserved. That blood will be preserved in the blood bank, and later it is given to the recipient. The person that who gives blood is the donor, and the person who receives blood is the recipient. Okay, so if you donate blood in the blood bank, they will store it and preserve it, and in later if any patient or anyone needs, they can approach the blood bank and they can get different groups of blood from the blood bank. Okay, so we can donate blood. If we are healthy, we can donate, we can give blood. It is by giving that we can save one's life. Okay, so that is about blood donation. Okay, students, that's about today. So read the portions well. Okay, so today's portions read well, and you have one work. That pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation, the diagrammatic representation is given in the textbook, page number 65 it is given, isn't it? So pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation, that diagrammatic representations you should draw in your notebook. Okay, already I told you to write the differences between auricle and ventricle and arteries and veins. Hope that you have written that one. Okay, and today's work is draw pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation, the diagrammatic representation for pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation, which is given in the textbook, page number 65. Okay, so write it in your notebook today itself. Okay, students, we can see you next class. Thank you.